Hey Kelly, can you hear me? There we go. Come on. Hey Samantha, hey Pedro, there you are.
Yo!
I had to put on an actual shirt.
Oh man!
I didn't want to be rocking some degenerate thing that I slept in. Good Lord, I am right. Hey, how's it going, man? Hey, how
Man,
you doing?
good man. Truth of it is, actually, I can really use this today because, man, I feel a little ragged. I feel like I've been talking my brains out about all the ways that people can get more money and just all this stuff, and I actually feel kind of drained to myself because I think I'm a really creative person, but I haven't really done anything creative, and like, it feels like forever.
Right. Yeah, you've been stuck on the legal side of things.
And it's great. I mean, I
Yeah.
appreciate helping, but I got to feed my soul a little bit. And
Yeah.
yeah,
For anybody, let's see, for the few that are here and the few that are later, that is Haseeb Qureshi, and follow him on Instagram at _HQ. There you go. There's your plug.
thanks.
It's nice seeing you, Haseeb. See ya. Bye. Just kidding.
Shit.
Uh, did you want to start out, or do you want me to
Yeah,
start out?
yeah. I'll start out. So, how the hell have you been continuing to be creative in the times like this? How do you not lose your ever loving mind?
Oh, I did for about 2 weeks. For about 2 weeks at the start of all this, it was pretty brutal. I'm trying not to cuss so much.
I know. Me too. Me too. Me too.
I
I
was
know.
on like 6 video chats yesterday, and by the 5th one, I said MF or way too much. So, and I noticed it about halfway through, so I'm trying not to. First 2 weeks were brutal. That's when I started watching Lion King and getting devolving
Lion King?
down.
You mean Tiger King?
Yeah, or Tiger King. Yeah, I keep getting those backwards, man. And I've seen one where somebody mixed up the two,
Yeah.
where they did the Simba with Joe Exotic.
Yup.
I see Pedro has faith in the beard. It's getting a little mountain man.
We
That's
all
what
have
it's getting.
faith in the beard. What are you
Yeah.
talking about? The beard is everything.
I was on one yesterday, and it just looked like this big mass. So the first 2 weeks were kind of rough, but it was also like house was a little bit in disorder just because I was busy or doing other things.
Right.
I actually had a box of just random, I'm gonna cuss, of just random shit sitting
Do
in
it.
my office. Like just crap just sitting there. That if I didn't have time to get to it, I throw it in that box. I actually had 2 boxes. One box got too full, so I had to do a second box.
Oh my God.
So during that first 2 weeks, as I was sitting there, shit scared, trying to figure out how I was going to find money, how I was going to cover mortgage, all that crap. Yeah, crap.
I know, important stuff.
While all this was still kind of up in the air, as projects were dropping off and off and off, I think the first thing I tackled was going through one of those boxes.
Wow.
I was like, I'm going to figure out what the hell's in this box. And it ended up being like a lot of junk mail that I just needed to rip up and recycle. So doing that, and then it's stupid crap like cable bill that I do automatically. I've told them to turn off mail, but they still mail me a bill. So it's stupid shit like that.
Do you feel better?
It looks like you're going through the Ozarks or something over there. Like,
So that's my house. So we just got a new house. I mean, just like 2 months ago, and I'm trying to get you guys on my tripod because
okay.
it's just gonna look a lot better and whatnot. But
So did it feel better to go through that box? Yes. But it was funny because it was the same thing of like, have you seen the memes where it's like, okay, I need to do my laundry. and then it leads to something else, which leads to something else. And then it's like 3 things, 20 things down the line. And it's, all I'm doing is trying to fix my damn laundry. Like, it's that kind of crap. So it led to me doing stuff here. I'm going to pan over. See, professionals, Haseeb, I'm going to let that sit for a second.
Thanks.
Yeah. Although, no, hold on. I'll do that. There's still a little bit of a mess. But one of the things I did was I was like, I've got this record player and amp, and I just wanted it installed. So I got it put in. And it didn't take much, but it's in the military. I know this only by hearing this from others, but when you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is you make your bed. And from what I understand, you make your bed for a quick win. So you start off with a success.
There we go.
Does that make sense?
So it's interesting. Me and Sarah were actually watching. So one of the things that she likes to watch a lot is Daily Blast Live on network television, and then Dr. Phil. And we both were watching that.
Yeah.
And he was going through, but like anyone can knock him, but it's what he was talking about was actually pretty sound, because they were talking to someone who was just paralyzed out of depression. And
right.
The guidance was just to find one thing. And the crazy hard thing about that is that there are a number of things that we all can be doing. So that in itself is paralyzing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like, how the hell do you pick one thing and be like, oh yeah, that's going to fix all my problems, right? But it really does help a lot.
Yeah. What is it? The paralyzation of choice. There's some phrase of like, if you have, all the options in the world, that comes from graphic design. If it's like, do whatever you want, it's like, oh crap, no, I need buffers. I need guidance. I need you to put a governor on this so that I have some guidance in some direction.
So like, how are you finding
choice
ways to
paralysis? Pedro just came up with choice paralysis. Thank you.
How are you avoiding choice paralysis? Because you really do live with your mind for 24 hours a day with all this creative energy. What the hell do you do to avoid the choice paralysis?
I'm going to say necessity.
Explain that. What do you mean by that?
Okay, so everything kind of really ramped up and broke bad on a Friday. I remember that. That's when all this really started. Longer story, I'll get around there to it. So on that Thursday, they had canceled Big Ears. Thursday night, they canceled Big Ears. Yeah. So I'm texting back with Stanton Webster, Postmodern Spirits, awesome guy. Go support him. Go buy cocktails and booze and hooch. But I was talking to him because I was like, how does Big Ears impact you? And I hope he's okay with me sharing this. I'm sure he is. But he was saying it's going to impact downtown greatly. And he's like, there may be a lot of businesses downtown go out of business because the people who come to Big Ears are mostly from out of town. They spend a lot of money and they tip really well. Not saying Knoxvillians don't do that, but they do both. Yeah. He's like, a lot of businesses make up for a lackluster Q4 and Q1 on Big Ears weekend. He's like, this is really going to screw us all over. So all of my texts to him were me using the F word a lot, saying not fix. That came after the other F word. And so I texted him and I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just create a Facebook event. I'm not going to ask anybody's permission. I'm not going to include anybody. I'm just going to do it. And I'm going to call it Support Downtown Weekend. And just say, hey, everybody, because of Big Ears, a lot of businesses downtown are taking a hit. Invite everybody go out to eat that weekend. Those 4 days that Big Ears happen. So that was Thursday night. So I wake up Friday morning, and it's just, you're watching people melt down online and on news. And I texted him, I was like, not going to do that today. And he's like, yeah, that's probably a good idea. And it just kind of progressively got worse. So the Monday or the Sunday after that, both my toilet broke, and my washer broke. See, I
Oh
told
my
you, I would
God.
circle us around. I'm getting there. So my washer started leaking and my toilet started leaking from beneath. So in my head, I was like, okay, the wax ring is broke on the toilet. Don't know what's wrong with the washer, probably the hose. So first thing I did, shut off water on both of them. And then on Monday, I got up, I went to Home Depot, and I got a new hose for the washer. And on the toilet, I got a new wax ring.
Wow.
So I came home and I fixed the wax ring, and in fixing the wax ring, I broke the connector piece to the tank. So then water started leaking out of the back.
God.
Charlie Brown. I am Charlie Brown. Anything
Man.
that can go wrong will go wrong. It's not Doyle's Law. It's not, I call it Doyle's Law. Whatever it is. Come on, Pedro. What is it? If anything can go wrong, will go wrong.
That's Murphy's Law.
Murphy's Law. But in 25th Hour, they call it Doyle's Law. They get it wrong, so I call it Doyle's Law. That's how it is in my head. So I fixed the hose on my washer and then turned on the water and ran a little bit, and it was fine.
Yeah.
There he is. Pedro. Hey, thanks, Pedro, for coming up with Murphy's Law. So fixed the hose on my washer, ran a small little bit of water through it. Nothing came out. A little bit came out from the top. I was like, okay, I forgot to get a clamp up there, a hose clamp. I was like, I need to go back and get that. And then that sat there for a week. Like, I was like, the paralysis thing. I just couldn't do it.
And
because I was
and it's staying there as a reminder of, it's almost secretly saying you suck. You
Yeah.
suck.
Yeah.
You suck.
So the toilet, I started removing, but because it was leaking, it had rusted the nut on there, and I couldn't get it off.
Oh my God.
So it literally was
stupid.
like, kept backsliding. So it sat there for about a week. I have another toilet. My laundry kept building up, but I finally hit a point where I was like, I have to fix this.
Yeah.
I'm going to fix this. And it was just a flip switched. And it was, I went in there and I just beat the shit out of my toilet to get that damn thing off of there. Like,
Wow.
I literally broke the top part of the screw of the bolt off and ripped it through without, yeah.
God.
So then I went to Lowe's and Home Depot, got what I needed, got all the way home, realized I forgot the clamp for the washing machine. So I drove all the way back out there. And the guy, it was funny because the guy was like, weren't you just here? I was like, I forgot the most important part. I'm fine. I need to buy this $1 piece. So I went, bought it, came back home, put the clamp on the washer first thing because I knew that would be an easy fix. Put that on, immediately ran water through it to see how it would go. It ran through. It looked to be fine. I went up. I started working on the toilet. I also added a bidet adapter that I'd gotten for Christmas in between my seat and the bowl. And you're glitching out on me a little bit. So I added that bidet adapter. We're worried about toilet paper. So I got that done, got the new bolt in there, got everything fixed, everything. Toilet bowl was a success. It was a
How
win.
long did that take you
It was
to
a win.
fix?
All that took me 20, 25 minutes, if even that.
So here's my question.
So wait. So I go down and the washer is still leaking.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So it's a pump or something underneath. But because I was in the mindset of I got the toilet fixed, that I was like, you know what? Screw it. Okay, let me go on Facebook Marketplace and see if I can find a washing machine for $100.
Right.
I was like, I just need a washing machine. I don't need a new one. A new one is like $600 or whatever. It's like, screw that. I'm not paying $400 to $600 for a brand new washer. It's a piece of crap. So I see that, Sam. Sam just put down the drain a story of Jody's afternoon. But how I'm circling around with all this is it it's almost, how did I get out of that? How did I remain that way? It was necessity. Like I had to get that toilet fixed. Like
Wow.
the TMI story is the other toilet I have is in a half bath that my knees touch the wall because I am a large man.
Yeah,
So
you are.
so after a week of that, I was like, I got to fix that damn toilet, man. I gotta get it done. But yeah, so it was kind of based on necessity, but it was wild. And the minute I got that fixed, both those boxes emptied. Uh, the record player got put up. Stuff started getting done. All it took was, I was like, just being determined and almost like angry.
So, okay, that's interesting, angry, because so do you kind of wake up and feel like, how do you, so, okay, this is something that I've been kind of grappling with, is that when I wake up, more recently, I've just been exhausted because all
Yeah.
the information I've been putting out, and I feel like sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, like, what am I doing? Is it just white noise? Is it, and so I try to talk myself out of what I'm trying to do, but I just go through my
Right.
emotions. I put on my music. That's one of the, I make my coffee. I put on my music that activates my mind. I mean, what are some things that when you wake up, how do you feel? Are you angry? Or are you kind of like, whoa, what am I doing? Or does that make sense?
Depends from day to day. There have been days where I've literally, well, because I'm a night owl, so I'll stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'll get up later than most people do.
Right.
But there have been some mornings where, I've also been trying to make sure I get enough sleep to set my alarm later, to where even if I set my alarm for 11:15, 11:15 is 8 hours or whatever it is. But there have been some days where it's been 1:30 and I'm still laying there. So
Wow.
yeah. So because of that, there on the mornings where I don't feel that way, it's almost like the bed is fire and I have to get away from it.
How do
To where
you,
it's almost like jumping out of bed. Like, all right, we gotta go.
how would you describe your creativity right now? Like the level of it. Would you describe your creativity as it's getting there at max, or do you feel like it's still trying to get up there, or where do you characterize it?
I feel like it's still getting there. I feel like I still don't feel 100%. I feel like I just got a job from somebody and I did 3 samples and sent them to them, and I was like, I don't feel great about any of these. Now, normally I don't feel great about a lot of the stuff I said, but
But you told
like
him.
huh?
But you told it to him, though. You said it to him, though.
No, I did not. I did not.
Oh, okay, that's
I
good.
was like, here are 3 examples. 2 of these are in this vein. 1 of these is in this vein. Let me know what you think about all of these. I was like, they're interesting. I had thought behind them. There are reasons why I picked all the normal stuff. Uh, so I did that. I sent it. And I saw right before we got on here, I already got an email saying none of those 3 are correct.
Wow.
So we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. And I don't know if it's fault of my own. It's the, what was it? Creative choice paralysis. He just said, do whatever. So I think it was a little bit of that. It's like, I was trying to think of what people would want, like what the marketplace would want for his business. So I did stuff. I was like, I think this would be interesting. And it was actually the third option, which was the quirkier option. I was like, I think people who come to your place would want that. And
Wow.
he disagreed with me. So,
Really?
yeah.
Well, is it so? I mean, but hold on though. But that's not the best accurate measure of your creativity, because that could also just been that you didn't prime that client's mind for what to expect.
Right.
Right.
Could have been, because it was also, I felt bad. I'm still, I know, Haseeb, you don't know this about me, but I'm stubborn as all hell.
We don't know that about you at all. No one knows that you're stubborn as all hell. What are you talking about?
I always joke.
That's news.
Like, I'm a man, I'm a Southerner, and I'm a Collins man. And those 3 stacked on top of one another are like, I'll hurt me before before you get me, I think yeah.
I love
So I
that.
think it's some of the times it's maybe not setting the stage right. What I was going with the stubborn is he's somebody that I just checked on. I
Yeah.
sent him a message. I was like, "Hey man, how are you doing? How is your business?" He was like, "Good." And he's like, "We've been doing really good. We've done this thing, this, and this." So at the end, he was like, "How are you doing?" And in this time, usually I'd probably deflate and just be like misdirect. But
Yeah.
this time I was like, it was rough for 2 weeks, but I'm getting out of that. And so he's like, "Was there anything I can do to help?" I was like, "No, no, there's the stubbornness. No, no, don't you dare give me money. No." Because I don't want to make anybody feel guilty. That wasn't my purpose of reaching out to him. I was
Yeah.
honestly worried about him and his business.
Yeah.
So then he was like, "How about I give you this much for this?" I was like, "Are you?" The first text I sent to him was, "Are you sure?" And he was like, "Yes, please. It will help you and it will help this other business. And that's what we need to be doing right now." I was like, "Okay." So I came up with those ideas and sent them to him. He sent me back some other ideas, and I'll proceed with those and see
That's
what he
good though.
thinks. Yeah.
What are you doing? I mean, so that's client work. So, do you have any personal projects that you're continuing on right now?
I've got a stack of freebie projects that for like nonprofits or friends, but a lot of those I haven't gotten into because I still don't feel 100%.
Yeah.
And those are ones I want to give 100% to.
How do you feel? What's your creativity is growing,
Yeah.
right? What are some other tips and tricks that you're sort of deploying on yourself to increase that creativity level? What are some have you stumbled upon any other ideas, or are you watching different stuff? Or are you listening to different music?
I think it's weird in that a little bit of the creative itch is getting scratched because of the 36 days of type thing that I'm working on.
Yeah, that's
So
right.
that I'm noticing that since this has started, when I start working on those have been taking me a lot longer than they normally would.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of pushing with that, trying to get that. But I would say once that levels off and ends, then I'll find some other activities. For me, the biggest thing has been getting outside and walking because it's been nice.
Yeah,
Like
I mean today's
I've been,
beautiful.
yeah. Today this will be 4 days in a week I've gotten out. So that's a big thing for me is just getting out and breathing because I feel like everything says stay at home, stay at home, stay at home, but that doesn't mean you have to lock yourself in your house.
Bingo.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
So this is interesting to me because I feel like, so I know whenever I'm waning in creativity, what I'll find is that if I watch something different or I explore this random thing that's not my world, it stimulates these new thoughts. And then I start connecting random dots I never had before. Some of the times I felt the least creative in my life is probably when I'm doing one thing and only one thing all the time.
Right.
Right? But it's hard, like, to get yourself out of that. How would you recommend someone gets out of, how do you explore those new things? How do you even give that a shot? How do you take that walk? Why not just sit at home all day? You know what I mean? Be in bed.
There's so much Netflix to watch. You're trying to get to the end of Netflix. It's out there somewhere. The end of Netflix.
I'll tell you what, it didn't end with the end of Tiger King. That's one thing for sure. There's still more Netflix out there.
No. So if for a creative person, the thing I would suggest, and I've got one sitting over on a shelf, I have an idea box, a little envelope box that anytime I have an idea, I draw it, I do it, I put it on a Post-it note, put it on a scrap of paper, and I throw it in that box. At first, it started out like in a paper clip, and then it hit a point that the pieces of paper got too big or too small. And so I started putting them in this box, and it was just like, all these are wild hair ideas that if I started, here's the best way to put it with this idea box. If I had unlimited funding and unlimited time, as in all the projects got wiped away from me, and I had unlimited funding and could do every single one of those projects, I would say in a year, I may be a third of the way through.
Wait. Let me ask you this. Are there any ideas in that idea box that don't require all the amount of funding that you need?
The ones that don't require a lot of funding require a lot of time. The ones that
which,
yeah,
what do we have right now?
I know. But I'm still thinking of those friends projects in the back of my head. I was like, I can't go to my idea box until and I think it's also like things that I can handle on my own is the other thing. Like there's a project, I will not mention what the project is, but there's a project that you and I talked about.
It requires other people. It totally does.
It's going to require other people. Like I can't get it done by myself.
Talk about the friends projects though, because I'm really curious about that. Are they still needing them? Like, have they, or
yes.
Are they just okay? So they've like reached out and be like, we need this, or this would be great.
Was it? There's the little the 3 circles: good, fast, cheap. Pick 2. So because a lot of those friends projects are cheap or nothing, they go in the good. You can't get fast. You're getting good, and you're getting it when I can get it.
Yeah.
So because those are still lingering, I don't feel stubborn. I'm stubborn. I can't get onto my projects until those are done. But I'm still doing like 36 days of type. Now I would say when 36 days of type is done, I may have the opportunity. What I really need to do now is just pick a day and just finish. Like the only thing I need to accomplish today is finish friend number 1's project.
How many friends do you got that are needing the projects? How many? Like 2, 3, 5, 10? Like how many?
Probably. I've got a list on my phone that I finally went through and I color coded them to where these are projects that I have everything I need and I can handle them on my own. And then here's projects that I still need stuff from people. Like one project I'm working on, I'm waiting on text. It's like, I can't create that person's text for them. And I would say there's probably 12 to 14 projects on there, and half of them, if I just sat down and completed them, I could complete them. So
it's just really interesting to me because it's almost like you're putting your chance to be creative with your own self so in the passenger seat, even though, these are projects that, like, I just don't, like, I feel like that's such a drag onto your creativity, right?
It can be, but it's also, like, some of those projects that I have in that box are daunting. They're daunting as shit. Like, and it's one of those things, like, so the thing we talked about when we last met in person, you remember way back in the time when we could meet in person?
Oh my God, that was only, like, what, it was 3 weeks ago?
No, it was like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago when we met at Bob Love. Yeah, it's that, but that project that I talked about that would be an event-based project.
Yeah.
You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
So that one's in there, but the stubborn aspect is once I start that, I have to keep doing it. Like, for anybody listening, I don't want to get into too big a detail, but it would be an event every year. But it requires so much that
it does.
That it's like once I start it, I can't.
It has to consume every part of you. It's all consuming. It has to be.
Yeah. I am getting alerts like crazy from my calendar, and my water app is yelling at me. Why are you not drinking? Shut up! But it's stuff like that. So the smart move would be to go through there and find the small things that I can take from beginning to end done.
Right.
Yeah. And I've got that box that I've been accumulating for 20 years. There are projects in there that are probably an idea from 20 years ago. You may even see sketches in there, tattoos I had an idea of when I was like 18.
Oh my God.
On me that my dad was like, yeah, that's fine. You can go get that tattoo. But the minute you get done, you have to go see your grandmother. And you have to show it to her. I was like, no. She'll kill me. She's 5 foot and 97 pounds. She'll kill me. Never mind. I'm out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
What are your expectations on yourself for, so when it's the end of the day, how do you feel about yourself at the end of the day? What expectations have you held for yourself? You know, do you find yourself beating yourself up? Do you find yourself saying, you know, like how does that work?
It's weird. I tell you, the weirdest thing to come in this time, and this comes with getting older too, is letting go of friendships is hard. And in this time, oddly enough, that seemed to ramp up really high.
Really?
So there are some nights to where I'm just replaying it in my head when I'm trying to go to sleep. Like it's bugging me that this went away or whatever. And it's usually when I wake up, it's either still there or it's gone. And then like this just happened earlier this week to where I was like, okay, I'm done. And it's a sad, good feeling.
Huh.
Where you know, I mean, you don't have to keep tugging on that thread to get that person to keep in touch with you. Because a lot of them, I'm the only reason we're still staying in touch.
Yeah, that's right.
And my friend Jason Snow, I'll give him a shout out, said to me, he finally told me earlier this week, he said, you have to stop being friends with people who don't want to see you succeed. And he's like, you have to stop giving those people your time. They're really out there. And I was like, holy shit, that's pretty damn accurate is what that is.
Wow.
So I think in this time, you have to be able to feel your feelings, but you can't let them squash you down. You can't let them oppress you or anything.
Yep.
Like you have to find, the only way out is through. You have to find a way out. So a lot of that time has been spent checking on people to say, how are you doing? So there's been a lot of people I've seen that are really, they have said that this has almost been completely tamped down any creativity they had.
Wow.
That this has just oppressed their creativity because they don't feel motivation. And you got to think, if you're somebody that, like I'm a single dude, all my bills are on me. Not saying woe is me or anything like that. But if you're a couple and one of the partners is still able to work and you're still able to make that mortgage payment, you're still able to do everything.
Yep.
I can see where that creativity could just vanish.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, what's the purpose? Why am I here?
There's not. What's the drive?
Right.
Well, but that's the interesting thing. I mean, what it is to be creative is to see something in the world that maybe other people don't see, or it doesn't even matter. Sometimes it's so personal. You just see something in the world, or you see something in your head, and you want to create it. You want to literally make it out into the world.
Yeah.
And, you know, what leads to that to stop happening? You know, what it could be fear. It could be a sense of you're not needed.
Right.
But why would you feel like that's the interesting? I mean, I don't think you necessarily feel this, but I just, for anyone who's, you know, for our intimate audience here, I mean, how do you help someone feel like that what they're creating isn't going into a vacuum? Like, is it worth it? Like, why? How do you convince someone that what they create actually means something? You know?
I think this may sound a lot broader than your question.
Yeah, shoot.
I think no matter the person, unless you're Hitler or Carol Baskin, the Wolf and Tiger King, there's someone out there who gives a shit about you.
Yeah.
There's someone that gives a shit about you. So whatever you create, there is someone who's going to find interest. Even if it's one person. There's one person that finds interest in it. Unless you're Carol Baskin. Then everybody thinks you killed your husband. And, you know.
Well,
sorry, spoiler alert.
Thinks highly of her, so not even her, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I think now is the time to almost be like, what do you want to do?
Yeah,
if you have that level of comfort, I hate to use the word comfort. Yeah. If you have that level of comfort to where you're not having to worry, now is the time where you should be saying, is what I'm doing, am I just on a track propelling forward, or am I doing what I want to do?
Yeah.
Because I think about that a lot of like, I wonder if this is going to impact businesses to where more people are going to be able to work from home, because now they're like, no, I can work from home. We don't have to have an office that we house 600 people. We don't have to pay those crazy high, that crazy amount of money for buildings, for
Utilities,
air, utilities, all
Yep.
that, water, coffee. I wonder, like, you take a major corporation, what is just their coffee bill every month?
Oh, crazy! It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
So,
No, I think this is definitely going to change how we work. It's, to your point, I just feel like that the next few months are going to define how we're going to come out of this, and it's up to us to find the things that we want to do. And but it's crazy though, because if you are alone and you weren't feeling good about yourself before, I can see how there's not a drive to pursue the creativity and to feel like there's any joy in it.
yeah, yeah. It's I hate to go back to it, but some days just feel your feelings. Some days don't take a shower, sit there and watch damn TV if you want to.
Yep.
But I also think of, somebody also said to me, you can also look at things as a reward. Lauren McNamara said that to me. I'm gonna give her a shout out here too. To where she was like, we were talking about personal projects, and she was like, I'm gonna sound like a super douche when I say this, but she was like, you have so many personal projects you want to pursue, you need to treat those like a reward. Like,
Yeah.
you land a big client, you get
Yep.
covered for 6 months on money. That's when you take your reward and do one of your creative projects. So I think about that during this. It's like, okay, if you're going to lay on your couch and watch all season 1 of Firefly, I'm just pulling something. You have to then say, okay, then tomorrow I have to do something. I have to get up. I have to accomplish something.
I think that's incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if what other areas have we kind of not talked about?
Yeah, I'm gonna look at my list. Struggle, alternative ways.
Let me look at my list. Struggle. Struggle.
The other things I put in, like alternative ways of generating income.
Yeah.
Is there anything you can do to generate passive income? But I think those fit into I don't want to say, is what I'm doing what I want to be doing.
Right.
I think they kind of fit into that. Staying positive, moments of dread, remaining active, file for government loans. That's another weird, that's weird. You touch on that now. It's like, so I filed for unemployment, and today I will file for the EIDC. EDIC? No, I'm not.
No.
You told me yesterday to file for
That's not the acronym. No. So I know all these stupid acronyms. So the SBA has a program called EIDL, which is Economic Injury Disaster Loans.
Damn it!
Right?
I was one letter off. But
it matters. It matters.
I know. EIDL.
So anyone can apply for that. That's up to $10,000 in grant money, which means you don't have to repay it back. So that's one option you can do. The other option is file for a PPP loan, which is a Paycheck Protection Program loan. Now that's not going to be open. So I found out. So I talked with the leadership of a bank last night, and I was on the phone for 30 minutes talking to the chief loan officer. They had a lot of good information, and one of the information is that self-employed individuals and consultants can't apply for the PPP loans until next Friday at the earliest. So today you still can't do anything, but if you have some payroll, if you have some W-2, for anyone who's here, if anyone who has W-2 employees at all, part-time, whatever, you can put your application in today or tomorrow. It just depends on your lender. And that's not through SBA, that's with your financial lender, right? But honestly, and that's two. And then the third thing, this isn't a business loan, but this is the unemployment assistance, right?
Yeah.
And so states are still waiting on guidance from the federal level. The federal level has to figure out all these, basically a detailed FAQ on really how states put this together. And they haven't ironed that out yet. So it's retroactive. File for unemployment with the state of Tennessee. As long as you're in there, even if you see a goose egg, if you see $0 in benefits, you're still in the system. So that's good. You're in the queue.
Yeah.
But it's going to be another couple of weeks until the $600 a week checks start hitting unemployment, and those $600 a week checks are going until June 30th, right? But what I was originally saying, if you're a freelancer, you don't really have probably the best credit history, but if you can, maybe this is the time to take out a 0% APR loan or a credit card. I mean, something, anything. My thing is this, that I know debt's bad, but figuring out any way to protect yourself at above all costs is so important right now. And there's still other financial products that might be able to help.
I'm going to go with 3 things. Number 1, don't get discouraged when filing for all that shit.
Yes.
Because when I filed for unemployment, it was so screwed up. And so, like, the lingo was like, you need to be applying for jobs every Monday. And if you don't apply for jobs on every Monday, then you're not going to get any of your money. And I was like, but there are no jobs. B, I'm not looking to get a job. I'm looking for...
And this is important to note, that the reason that hasn't been updated is because state of Tennessee, any other state, hasn't. No, that's good though. You're right. So the language is not reflective of the reality. Professionals are telling everyone to go file for it because that's the process that the government's indicated. But it sucks because the language online is jarring. You're not doing that, but why am I doing this? Right? It's really messed up.
But it's. Don't get discouraged.
Yes.
That's my point. Don't get discouraged by that. Number 2, because I started getting into this yesterday on another call, forbearance when it comes to your mortgage company. Make sure you super read the language, because some of the mortgage companies are making it to where if you go into forbearance, for anybody who doesn't know, forbearance is to where you can essentially put a pause on your mortgage. And it depends from mortgage company to mortgage company. But some of them, they're like, okay, you're going to go into forbearance for 3 months. And at the end of 3 months, you better have a check for those 3. You're not making a payment. You're moving a payment down the field.
Well, and so that's what you call balloon payments. Balloon payments are extremely scary. You're right. Be careful about forbearance. The best way to do forbearance, the best lenders will just move the maturity date. So literally, your whole loan is paused for 3 to 6 months, and that means you'll pay it off eventually 3 to 6 months later. But a lot of these banks are not moving the end date, and so you have to owe a lot more money in a smaller amount of time, and that's a very dangerous situation.
So I will say my mortgage company, I looked into, they actually finally released, like the CEO came out and did a video, and then I noticed what they had put in there.
Mortgage company? That's really progressive. That's really good.
It's Mr. Cooper. It used to be Nation Star. But they have 3 options for the forbearance. Number 1 is at the end of 3 months, you can extend it for 3 more months. You can actually extend it all the way up to a year.
Wow.
So they have 3 options at the end. Number 1 is to start a repayment plan, to where at the end, they'll work with you and they'll just add a little bit onto your mortgage every month.
That's
where you
great.
can pay it back. That's 1. Number 2 is pay it as a lump sum. That's number 2. Number 3 is loan modification, where you're able to take that money and do what you said and essentially move your mortgage out.
That's
a few more months. But I was talking to a friend who works in the mortgage industry, and she's like, most businesses are not doing that. So in my end, because I've listened to you and you've said the money from the government is not a short-term fix. You have to. So today I'm going to file for that with my mortgage company, because I was like, if I start getting that money for the government, then I can always 2 months from now pay everything on the mortgage, be caught up, and be like, I'm done. I don't need this anymore.
My prediction, and I think everyone's thinking this, but no one's really come out and said it. I wish they would say this nationally, but really don't expect the business loan programs to provide any benefit for the month of April.
Yeah.
I think it's gonna, in the law it says there's 30 days of guidance, and if you look at 30 days from when the law was passed, you're looking at the end of April anyway. So that's the timeline. And you're right. I mean, you got to find other ways to take care of yourself.
And it's like, pay attention to the businesses that are doing. The third thing I was going to get into is pay attention to the businesses who are doing good by people right now. Like Adobe is the best one. Adobe 2 weeks ago put out a thing that said, here's how you do the thing to where we're going to give you 3 months free.
Yeah, they're like, cancel your membership, sign up, and then you'll get it for 3 months free.
You'll get 3 months free. So pay attention. That was my third thing. Pay attention to those businesses and really support them down the line. Because right now, it's we probably should. We could go rambling on. I'll end on two funny notes. I've found an alternative way for money, because I'm hearing from some of my friends in the restaurant industry that their landlords are not giving them forgiveness. So I feel like an alternative income is I'm going to go start beating the shit out of landlords. So can you get me out of jail? I know you're a lawyer. Can you get me out of jail?
I cannot get you out of jail, but you know what's funny? I came across a tweet from Ice-T, and Ice-T says, ice cold fact, if anyone owes you money, you know where they're at. Go to their house.
But yeah, when I heard that from one of my landlord friends, I can't get into detail, but it was like, or one of my landlord friends, screw that. One of my friends, she was telling me, like, it's crazy. Like, even if they cut her rental down to a quarter a month, she could cover that. And the sad part is they own an entire block of buildings.
Oh my God.
A strip. There's a major company, major business on one end that is covering everybody. It's like, you're an asshole. You're a dickhead. So she's going to pay me in food, and I'm starting to turn into WWF. I'm going to find that mother. I'm going to kick the shit. Yeah. I'm going to go find him and beat the hell out of him.
Okay, this is all clearly a joke. You're not actually going to do that. I think that's very clear to put it. Okay.
Whatever you need to tell yourself, Haseeb.
You realize these live streams are recorded and then get posted.
Everybody and anyone friends. They're good. Hell, I see Sean and DJ in here and Pedro. They'll go help me.
But to your point that you're underscoring, it's unconscionable. I cannot believe landlords. They're not waiving it. They're not doing their part. Yeah, no. I agree, because there is no way their mortgage is the entire amount of the rent. There's just no way.
But in going into taking a negative turn into a positive, find the people who are helping others. And support the hell out of them when all this is over.
Yep.
That's what you got to do. So here's how we'll end. Let's see. I know I can do this with you. Some of the people I'm going to be doing with this. So to anybody watching, I am actually doing this as a series. I don't know how often. I'm kind of piggybacking off of what Haseeb's been doing on the fiscal side of things. So give Haseeb a follow, _HQ. Watch his videos on a lot of the fiscal and legal aspects of all of this COVID stuff.
Thank you.
And then for me, I'm going to keep interviewing creatives and makers and stuff on how they're coping with all this. And that's where my questions about forebodedness and what was it, dread will come to bear. But here's how I'm going to end. I can end this with you. Don't know if I can end this with others, because you need to ask permission. When all this is over, I owe you a big giant bear hug, like a big giant, like that. So when all this is over, I'm gonna hug the shit out you.
I'm cool with that, man. 100%. 100%.
Thanks for doing this, man. Thanks everybody for tuning in.
Thanks for having me.
Hell yeah, man.
All right.
Bye.
Later, guys.